Picture this, a courtroom packed with people. A police officer on the witness stand, badge gleaming, confidently recounting his version of events. And sitting at the defendant's table, a black woman in handcuffs, accused of assaulting an officer and resisting arrest. The prosecutor is smiling. The judge looks stern. Everything seems decided before it even begins. But what nobody in that courtroom knew was that this wasn't just any woman. And in about 15 minutes, everything was about to change. What city are you watching from today? If this story resonated with you, hit subscribe for more stories about extraordinary people. Her name was Dr. Maya Richardson. At 42 years old, Maya had built a distinguished career as a senior government inspector for the Department of Justice's Civil Rights Division. For the past decade, she'd been investigating police misconduct across the country, going undercover, reviewing cases, and holding departments accountable. She was meticulous, brilliant, and absolutely fearless. But on this particular Tuesday morning in September, Maya wasn't in a federal building reviewing files. She was sitting in a county courthouse in Georgia, wearing an orange jumpsuit, facing charges that could destroy everything she'd worked for. Let me take you back 3 weeks. Maya had been in town conducting a routine inspection of the local police department following several complaints about racial profiling. She kept a low profile, as she always did, driving a modest rental car and staying in a quiet hotel on the edge of town. One evening, after a long day of interviews, Maya stopped at a grocery store. She was tired, dressed casually in jeans and a college sweatshirt, just wanting to grab some dinner and head back to her room. As she walked to her car, bags in hand, a police cruiser pulled up beside her. The officer inside, a man named Derek Patterson, rolled down his window. "Evening, ma'am. Can I see some ID?" Maya paused. "Is there a problem, officer?" "Just routine. ID, please." She knew her rights. "Am I being detained? Have I done something wrong?" Officer Patterson's expression hardened. "Don't make this difficult. ID. Now." Maya took a breath. She could have told him who she was, could have pulled out her federal credentials and watched his face change. But something made her hold back. Maybe it was professional instinct. Maybe she wanted to see how this played out. "I don't consent to this search without probable cause," she said calmly. What happened next was captured on the officer's body camera, though that footage would mysteriously malfunction, according to the police report. Patterson ordered her out of the car. When Maya calmly refused, citing her constitutional rights, he opened her door, grabbed her arm, and yanked her out. Maya didn't resist. She went limp, as she'd been trained to do. But Patterson's report would tell a different story entirely. According to his account, Maya had been acting suspiciously, had refused lawful orders, and had struck him in the chest when he attempted to question her. The report painted her as aggressive, dangerous, uncooperative. She was arrested, booked, and held overnight. And because it was late on a Friday evening, she wouldn't see a judge until Monday morning. 3 days in a holding cell, unable to contact her office, watching other women come and go, knowing exactly how the system failed people every single day. Her colleagues at the Department of Justice were frantic, but Maya had been off the grid before doing undercover work. It took them until Sunday to track her down. Now, here she was in court. Her attorney, Marcus Webb, a sharp public defender who actually listened to his clients, sat beside her. He'd heard her story and believed every word. But he also knew how these cases usually went. Officer Patterson took the stand, hand on the Bible, and swore to tell the truth. The prosecutor, a woman named Jennifer Mills, smiled warmly at him. "Officer Patterson, can you describe what happened on the evening of September 15th? Patterson nodded, settling into his narrative. "I observed the defendant behaving suspiciously in the parking lot of Fairview Groceries. She was looking around nervously, moving between vehicles. Based on my training and experience, I believe she might be casing cars for theft." Maya's jaw tightened. Every word was a fabrication. "I approached to conduct a welfare check," Patterson continued. When I asked for identification, she became immediately hostile and aggressive. She raised her voice, used profanity, and when I attempted to explain that I was just doing my job, she struck me in the chest with her closed fist. Did you feel threatened, Officer Patterson? Absolutely. I feared for my safety. That's when I had no choice but to place her under arrest. The prosecutor nodded sympathetically. Thank you, officer. Your witness, Mr. Webb. Marcus stood slowly. He looked at Maya, who gave him the smallest nod. Officer Patterson, Marcus began, you mentioned your body camera malfunctioned that evening. Is that correct? Yes, sir. Technical issues. Happen sometimes. Convenient. In your 10 years on the force, how many times has your body camera malfunctioned? Patterson shifted. I don't keep count. According to departmental records, this is the 7th time. All 7 incidents involved arrests of people of color. Interesting pattern, wouldn't you say? Objection. The prosecutor stood. Relevance? The judge, an older white man named Hamilton, frowned. Sustained. Move on, Mr. Webb. Marcus turned to Maya. This was the moment they discussed. She could continue letting this play out, or she could reveal who she was. She stood. Your Honor, if I may address the court? Judge Hamilton looked surprised. Ms. Richardson, you'll have an opportunity to testify if your attorney calls you. I understand. Your Honor, but there's something this court needs to know right now. She reached into the folder Marcus had brought. My name is Dr. Maya Richardson. I'm a senior inspector with the United States Department of Justice, Civil Rights Division. Here are my federal credentials. The courtroom went silent. You could have heard a pin drop. Officer Patterson's face drained of color. The prosecutor's mouth fell open. Judge Hamilton leaned forward, taking the credentials Marcus brought to the bench. Furthermore, Maya continued, her voice steady and clear, I've been in this jurisdiction for the past 3 weeks conducting an official investigation into this very police department based on a pattern of civil rights violations. I was attempting to purchase groceries when Officer Patterson stopped me without probable cause, physically assaulted me when I exercised my constitutional rights, and then falsified his report. She turned to look directly at Patterson. What you didn't know, officer, is that while your body camera may have malfunctioned, the grocery store security cameras didn't. My office obtained that footage this morning. It shows everything. Me walking to my car. You approaching without cause. You pulling me from my vehicle when I calmly declined your unlawful request. All of it. Judge Hamilton's expression had transformed completely. Ms. Mills approached the bench. Officer Patterson, remain where you are. The whispered conversation at the bench lasted 2 minutes. When the prosecutor returned to her table, she looked like she wanted to disappear. This court, Judge Hamilton announced, is dismissing all charges against Dr. Richardson immediately. Officer Patterson, you are ordered to remain in this courtroom. Bailiff, please contact the sheriff. We're going to need internal affairs here immediately. 3 months later, Officer Derek Patterson was no longer a police officer. He faced federal charges for civil rights violations and filing false reports. 2 other officers in his department were suspended, and the entire department entered into a consent decree requiring federal oversight and massive reforms. Maya went back to her work, but she carried that experience with her. Because here's what she told me when I interviewed her for this story. I had power that most people don't have. I had credentials, legal knowledge, resources. And even with all that, I was powerless in that moment. I think about all the people who go through this without any of those advantages. That's who this work is really for. Maya's story reminds us that justice isn't automatic. It requires people willing to stand up, even when the system seems rigged against them. It requires truth tellers, even when lies are easier to believe. And it requires all of us to remember that behind every case number, every arrest report, every courtroom drama, there's a human being whose life and dignity matter. The badge doesn't make someone honest. The uniform doesn't make someone right. And sometimes, the person in handcuffs is exactly the person who's going to change the whole system. If this story moved you, hit that like button and subscribe to Soul Relief Stories for more powerful narratives about justice, resilience, and hope. Drop a comment below telling me what you think about Maya's courage. And remember, sometimes the most powerful person in the room is the one everyone underestimated. Until next time, keep seeking truth and believing in justice.